Hi, today I will be reviewing some of my favorite bead books, and then we will be looking at African trade beads circa 1700s. Good morning, everyone. It is me, Chasing Rainbows, and today I am reviewing the book on African beads. I paid about $40 for it recently. I highly recommend this book. It tells you how the beads are made and the stories behind it, which to me is so important. This is a great book, and the pictures are really nice and detailed. And look at that. Oh my God. So this is a good one to have. I'm also going to review this book as well, and it does have great pictures. I recently purchased this book for around $25–30. I do like this book. Oh, look what I just turned to. Not planned. The pictures were a tad too bright because I know about a lot of these beads. I know how they really look, and I guess I recently found this book used for about $7. One of my favorite books. I think I've had this copy probably well over 30 years. I had it and then I lost it and then I found it again, and it is such a good book. It just gives you a brief on history of beads and how they're used, and it tells you about every bead just about, and it is such a good go-to book. I would highly recommend this for beginners and for people like me who have been working with beads for hundreds of years. But yeah, I love it. This used book at the junk store was about $5 to $7. I found this book at the Goodwill, and even though it's on jewelry, it's very important to have books on jewelry because it covers the gemstones, the pearls, the era, and if you're working with beads, it will cross over. But it is a really good read. The original price on this book is $15. I also like this book. This is great for beginners as well. It tells you like your bead essentials. It tells you how to make simple jewelry. It tells you about the tools that you need. There's not a lot of pictures of beads in there, but tells you the shapes and sizes. This is a good book to have also for a beginner. This book originally was around $25. I also love this book. It tells you the origins. It shows really nice pictures. It gives you brief history. This is a must-have, and just look at the detail. I keep turning to the African beads, and look at the pictures. They're so awesome. Look at that bead. I get excited over beads, but this is a great book. So if you come across it or you have the opportunity to buy it, buy it. American Indian Beadwork book was originally $10. This one I've had since I was maybe 15 or 16, and then I lost it again. Then I came across it again, but it's the beginning information on beadwork, and the pictures are, the majority of them are all black and white, except for the back where they have a few patterns. And this is a really good book. I sometimes go back and refer to it. This fabulous Turquoise Unearthed book was a gift, but it sells for $13. This is a great book also. It tells you the history of the turquoise, how it was mined, the places that it comes from, and there's really nice pictures in there. Look at that. And if you're working with turquoise, this is a really good book to have because You need to know about your stone, and when people start asking you questions, you know, exactly where's it from? Why is there a matrix? Why is there blue turquoise and green turquoise? Is it only used by Native Americans? It's been found in tombs of the Egyptians. It's just, there's a lot of good information in here, so I would recommend this book too. Beading in the Native American Tradition was originally $25. This is a really good book. It is very informative. It talks a lot about the beadwork and the history of the beadwork and different tribes, their techniques. And it also gives you a few ideas on how to make your own beaded jewelry. And if you're into the beaded jewelry, you need to know the history. It is important when you're selling your beadwork. It shows complete detail of moccasin work and the names of the stitches. This book I have had, I think, since my daughter was a baby. And the history of beads, I believe I paid around $75 for it 30 years ago. This is, I lost the cover, but this is the history of beads. And look at that. I have read this book over and over and over. It's just every time I open it, and there's something new for me to discover. So this is so good. If you had to buy one book, I would probably recommend this one, because especially if you're into the ancient beads like I am, this is just, oh, I love it. And it comes with a pull-out map that you can save or hang up on your wall, and it tells you like 14,000 BC exactly where the type of bead came from and how it's made. The collectible bead book, I paid around $40 for it. This is a great book to have. It's, again, very informative. It tells you, look, they even cut the bead in half so you can see what's on the inside. It tells you also the history of beads and really nice color pictures. The book is an older book, but oh, there. This book is a keeper. It is an older book, but I love having it. I feel like now I want to go back and look at it again. There's so much information. And every time you look at books like this, you get new ideas. So exquisite. I just can't believe it. I'm so happy to have these. So what I'm going to do is, customers coming, is take pictures and talk about it a little bit more. Okay, thanks. Most Okoso beads have a yellow base color and are typically made in a cylinder or elongated shape. The black eye beads, or also known as skunk bead or 1,000 eyes, they are exceptional and they're hard to find, and a strand could cost up to $400 and are primarily black and white. The green or teal blue variant, usually found only in larger, elongated bioconical beads. It is the rarest of all Okoso color versions. These are called Russian blue, and this particular trade bead with the cobalt, my gosh, aren't they beautiful? The rust-colored chevron is 5 layers. This next one is made from tiny canes of chevrons, and some call it Millefiori, which means 1,000 flowers. This is only one characteristic style and design observed on traditional Bodum beads. They often consist of equatorial bands and eye motifs. My bracelets consist of tiny, tiny red white hearts and rare white Okoso beads. So let's take a quick look at some of the African beads that I have on display. And these are one of my favorite kinds. They are called watermelon beads. Trade beads were used as currency until the end of the 19th century. Also known as Rosetta, some people call these mini chevrons. I have seen the watermelon beads sell for as much as $200 a strand. And when I buy them, they come on a piece of raffia like this. I was so happy to find these beads at the last bead show and purchase them from an African dealer who only specializes in the authentic trade beads. This is recycled glass, and some call it Vaseline glass. This is Bauxite, also known as African pipestone. It was said that at a funeral, the deceased would be wearing a strand of beads like this, and the mourners. The body returns to the earth as dust, just like the stone will return to the earth as dust, and makes the transition easier. This next bead is similar to batik, in which they apply wax onto a bleached bone in the desired patterns and then dip the bone into a thick black dye made of boiled tree sap. Designs are found in a traditional East African textiles. This next bead is considered the African wedding beads. The bead's shape was named burnel, which means pear, and was made exclusively for the African trade. These beads are from my personal collection that I have had for over 35 years, and I decided to share them with my customers, and they are absolutely fabulous. Now you can tell how they took two pieces and molded them together. You can kind of see the seam right there. Now the modern African wedding beads are a lot smaller, but they are also still as bright as these are, with those rich, fantastic colors. The ones that are rare that I rarely see are the opalescent ones, the light blue ones, and the brown ones. According to legend, the first glass beads were made by Olokun, a female deity and member of the Yoruba founding family. The Kori stones, interpreted by archaeologists to be an intermediate step in the process of bead making, were objects of Venetian and worship, known locally as Aj Aliki and Aj Olokun, wealth of beads, and wealth of Olokun, and kept in special shrines. Molded glass snake beads were not colored realistically, but they did interlock like real snake vertebrae. And the real snake vertebrae they were highly prized for their protective powers. And I am wearing a snake bracelet today. My snake bracelet is real snake vertebrae. The African trade beads, the green ones, are so beautiful. Those are one of my all-time favorite beads. And again, these did come on raffia strands. And last but not least are the white hearts, which I love so much. They start out as a white cane, and then the bright colors, the blue, the green, the yellows, is the second layer of glass to go around the white cane. Now, toward the front, we have recycled bottles that are turned into these bead slices, and these are becoming my new favorites as well. Thank you so much for watching. Oh. Yikes. I think the pictures could have been a little bit better, but African beads, yes. So let's get started. I mean, it has nice pictures of pearls, and this is also I highly recommend this book. I have these beads,